Do you want to successfully complete the D332 Objective Assessment exam? Then you are in the right place. Our website provides a list of questions and answers for your success in the D332 OA exam for free. We understand that acing your OA exam can be quite challenging. That's why we provide completely free exam guides and practice questions for you. In this video, we will cover questions from risk management, security frameworks, vulnerability terminology, penetration testing, and network reconnaissance. So, let's get started. 1. What is the definition of risk in a security context? A. Risk =, vulnerability x control. B. Risk =, vulnerability, threat. C. Risk =, threat, vulnerability. D. Risk =, control / exposure. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Risk =, threat, vulnerability. Explanation. Option C is correct because risk is commonly calculated as the likelihood of a threat exploiting a vulnerability. The formula risk =, threat. X vulnerability is a standard model to represent the potential for loss or damage when a threat exploits a weakness in a system. Option A is incorrect because controls are safeguards or countermeasures put in place to reduce risk. They are a mitigating factor, not a component used to calculate the initial risk value. Option B is incorrect because dividing vulnerability by threat does not logically represent the relationship between these elements. A higher threat and a higher vulnerability should result in a higher risk, which is achieved through multiplication, not division. Option D is incorrect because this formula is not a recognized model for calculating risk. Controls are used to decrease risk, and exposure is a consequence of risk, but this specific calculation is not standard. 2. Describe unified threat management, also known as UTM. A strategy to prevent phishing attacks. B, a combination of all security functions like firewalls, malware scanning, and IDS/IPS. C, a firewall-only configuration. D, a method to manage social engineering risks. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B, a combination of all security functions like firewalls, malware scanning, and IDS/IPS. Explanation. Option B is correct because a unified threat management system is an all-in-one security appliance or software suite that consolidates multiple security and networking functions. It bundles services like a firewall, intrusion detection and prevention systems, antivirus, and content filtering into a single package. Option A is incorrect because while a UTM may include components that help block phishing, its scope is much broader than just being a strategy for phishing prevention. Option C is incorrect because a UTM is specifically designed to be more than just a firewall. It integrates a firewall with numerous other essential security services. Option D is incorrect because UTMs are technical controls that can block malicious payloads from social engineering attacks, but they do not manage the human element or the psychological tactics involved in social engineering. 3. What is OWASP? A vulnerability assessment tool. B, an international standards body for cybersecurity. C, a framework for web application security testing. D, a malware database. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C, a framework for web application security testing. Explanation. Option C is correct because OWASP, the Open Web Application Security Project, is a non-profit foundation that works to improve software security. It is best known for providing resources, tools, and frameworks like the OWASP Top 10, which serves as a critical guide for web application security testing. Option A is incorrect because OWASP is an organization, not a single tool. While the organization does develop and provide tools like the Z-Attack Proxy or ZAP, OWASP itself is the overarching community project. Option B is incorrect because OWASP is a community-driven open source project, not a formal international standards body like the International Organization for Standardization, known as ISO. Option D is incorrect because OWASP focuses on identifying and classifying web application weaknesses and vulnerabilities, not on maintaining a database of specific malware signatures. 4. What is NIST? A. National Institute of Standards and Technology. B. National Institute of Software Testing. C. Network Intrusion Security Testing. D. New Information Security Tactics. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, A. National Institute of Standards and Technology. Explanation. Option A is correct because NIST stands for the National Institute of Standards and Technology. It is a non-regulatory agency of the United States Department of Commerce that develops and promotes standards and guidelines, including the widely used Cybersecurity framework. Option B is incorrect because this is not the correct name for the organization. While NIST deals with software, its scope is much broader than just testing. Option C is incorrect because this is a descriptive phrase for a security activity, not the name of a US government agency. Option D is incorrect because this is a made-up name and not what the acronym NIST represents. 5. What is NIST SP 800-115? A. A framework for testing encryption algorithms. B. A standard for managing firewalls. C. A guide to information security testing and assessment. D. A vulnerability management tool. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. A guide to information security testing and assessment. Explanation. Option C is correct because NIST Special Publication 800-115 is titled The Technical Guide to Information Security Testing and Assessment. It provides detailed guidance on planning, conducting, and analyzing the results of security tests. Option A is incorrect because standards for encryption algorithms are covered in other NIST publications, such as the Federal Information Processing Standards, known as FIPS. Option B is incorrect because this publication is a general guide for security testing and is not specific to firewall management. Option D is incorrect because NIST SP 800-115 is a guidance document that outlines a methodology, not a software tool used for vulnerability management. 6. What is OSTEM? A. Open Source Security Testing Methodology Manual. B. Operational Systems Security Testing Method. C. Open Source Systems Technology Manual. D. Official System Security Test Methodology. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, A. Open Source Security Testing Methodology Manual. Explanation. Option A is correct because OSSTM stands for the Open Source Security Testing Methodology Manual. It is a comprehensive, peer-reviewed methodology for performing security tests and is focused on providing verifiable and quantifiable results. Option B is incorrect because this is not the correct expansion of the acronym. OSSTMM is a manual, not just a method. Option C is incorrect because the methodology is focused on security testing, not general systems technology. Option D is incorrect because while it is a methodology, the O stands for open source, not official. 7. What is ISAF? A. Internet Security Standards and Framework. B. Information Systems Security Assessment Framework. C. Internal Security Software and Framework. D. infrastructure security standards and assessment. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Information Systems Security Assessment Framework. Explanation. Option B is correct because ISAF stands for the Information Systems Security Assessment Framework. It is a detailed framework designed to guide security professionals through all phases of a penetration test, from planning to reporting. Option A is incorrect because the name does not accurately reflect the framework's focus on assessment. Option C is incorrect because ISAF is not a software product, and its scope includes more than just internal security. Option D is incorrect because while infrastructure is part of the assessment, the framework's full name is Information Systems Security Assessment Framework. 8. What does PEDIT stand for? A. Personal Threat and Exploit System. B. Penetration Testing Execution Standard. C. Physical Threat Evaluation Strategy. D. Personal Testing for Enterprise Security. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Penetration Testing Execution Standard. Explanation. Option B is correct because PTS stands for the Penetration Testing Execution Standard. It is a standard designed to provide a common language and methodology for conducting penetration tests. Option A is incorrect because PTS is a standard for professional testing, not a personal system for threats and exploits. Option C is incorrect because while physical security can be part of a penetration test, PTS covers all aspects of testing, not just physical threats. Option D is incorrect because this is not the correct expansion of the acronym. 9. Explain the role of MITRE-ATT and CK. A. A testing framework for antivirus systems. B. A comprehensive repository of adversary tactics, techniques, and procedures. C. A guide for cryptographic algorithms. D. A vulnerability scanner. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. A comprehensive repository of adversary tactics, techniques, and procedures. Explanation. Option B is correct because the MITRE-ATT and CK framework is a globally accessible knowledge base of real-world adversary tactics and techniques. It is used by security professionals for threat modeling, red teaming, and evaluating the effectiveness of security controls. Option A is incorrect because while the ATT and CK framework can be used to evaluate the effectiveness of antivirus systems by simulating known threats, it is not a testing framework specifically for them. Option C is incorrect because guides for cryptographic algorithms are typically published by bodies like NIST, not MITRE-ATT and CK. Option D is incorrect because AT and CK is a knowledge base and framework, not a software tool that actively scans for vulnerabilities. 10. What is CVSS? A. Common Vulnerability Scoring System. B. Certified Vulnerability Scanning Software. C. Centralized Vulnerability System Scanning. D. Cloud Vulnerability and Security System. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. A. Common Vulnerability Scoring System. Explanation. Option A is correct because CVSS stands for the Common Vulnerability Scoring System. It is an open industry standard for assessing the severity of computer system security vulnerabilities and provides a numerical score to reflect their impact. Option B is incorrect because CVSS is a scoring system, not a certified software product. Option C is incorrect because CVSS is a standard for scoring, not a centralized scanning system. Option D is incorrect because this is not the correct expansion of the acronym. 11. What is CVE? A. Common vulnerabilities and exploits. B. Common vulnerabilities and exposures. C. Certified vulnerability engine. D. Centralized vulnerability exchange. Do you know the answer? Correct answer: B. Common vulnerabilities and exposures. Explanation: Option B is correct because CVE stands for Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures. It is a system that provides a unique identification number for each publicly known cybersecurity vulnerability, making it easier to share data across different security tools and databases. Option A is incorrect because an exploit is the means by which an attacker takes advantage of a vulnerability. The E in CVE stands for exposures, which refers to the system weaknesses themselves. Option C is incorrect because CVE is a list or dictionary, not an engine. Option D is incorrect because while information is exchanged using CVEs, the name itself does not stand for vulnerability exchange. 12. Explain CWE. A. Common web exploits. B. Common weakness enumeration. C. Certified web enumeration. D. Cyber weakness engine. Do you know the answer? Correct answer: B. Common weakness enumeration. Explanation: Option B is correct because CWE stands for Common Weakness Enumeration. It is a community-developed list of common software and hardware weakness types that serves as a common language for describing security flaws. Option A is incorrect because CWE categorizes weaknesses, which are the root causes of vulnerabilities, rather than the exploits used to attack them. Option C is incorrect because CWE is a community-developed enumeration, not a certification. Option D is incorrect because CWE is a categorized list or dictionary, not an engine. 13. What is a critical consideration when pen testing web applications? A. The use of cloud services. B. Testing every form or page interaction. C. Focus only on external assets. D. Skipping any use of APIs. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer: B. Testing every form or page interaction. Explanation: Option B is correct because web applications are highly interactive. Every input field, form submission, URL parameter, and user action represents a potential attack vector that could be exploited, making comprehensive testing of all interactions a critical requirement. Option A is incorrect because while the underlying infrastructure is important, testing the application's interactive elements is a more direct and universally critical part of a web application pen test. Option C is incorrect because focusing only on external assets is a significant oversight. A comprehensive test must also consider internal threats and how external vulnerabilities could be leveraged to attack internal systems. Option D is incorrect because APIs are a core component of modern web applications and are a frequent source of serious vulnerabilities. Intentionally skipping API testing would leave a major part of the application untested and at risk. 14. What are examples of assets when determining the test scope? A. APIs, IP addresses and domains. B. Only firewalls and IDS/IPS systems. C. User manuals and internal policy documents. D. External data logs. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer: A. APIs, IP addresses and domains. Explanation: Option A is correct because assets, in the context of a penetration test, are the systems, applications, and infrastructure components that are to be tested. This includes technical elements like application programming interfaces, network IP addresses and domain names. Option B is incorrect because this list is too narrow. Assets include a wide range of components such as servers, workstations, applications, and databases, not just security devices. Option C is incorrect because user manuals and policy documents are sources of information used during reconnaissance. They are not typically considered the testable assets themselves. Option D is incorrect because logs are data generated by assets. While logs could be a target for an attacker trying to cover their tracks, they are not the primary assets being tested for vulnerabilities. 15. Explain the difference between internal and external assets. A. Internal assets are accessible over the internet, while external assets are only internal. B. External assets are managed locally, and internal assets are hosted on third-party systems. C. Internal assets are accessed from within the organization, and external assets are accessible from outside. D. External assets cannot be tested during pen tests. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Internal assets are accessed from within the organization, and external assets are accessible from outside. Explanation. Option C is correct because the distinction between internal and external assets is based on network accessibility. External assets like public websites or DNS servers are exposed to the internet, while internal assets are located on the private corporate network and are not directly accessible from the outside. Option A is incorrect because the definitions are reversed. External assets are accessible from the internet. Option B is incorrect because this confuses hosting location with accessibility. Both internal and external assets can be hosted and managed in various ways, either locally or by third parties. Option D is incorrect because testing external assets is a fundamental and critical part of most penetration tests, as these assets are the most exposed to potential attackers. 16. What's the difference between first-party and third-party hosted assets? A. First-party assets are physical, while third-party assets are virtual. B. First-party assets are hosted by the client, and third-party assets are hosted by a vendor or partner. C. First-party assets are encrypted, while third-party assets are not. D. Third-party assets are only accessible via API. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. First-party assets are hosted by the client, and third-party assets are hosted by a vendor or partner. Explanation. Option B is correct because the term first-party refers to assets that are owned and controlled by the client organization itself. Third-party refers to assets that are hosted or managed by an external entity, such as a cloud service provider or a software as a service vendor. Option A is incorrect because both first-party and third-party assets can be either physical or virtual. Option C is incorrect because encryption is a security control that can and should be applied to assets regardless of who hosts them. Option D is incorrect because third-party assets can be accessible through various means, including web interfaces, direct connections, or APIs, not just one method. 17. What kind of questions should the pen test team ask stakeholders? A. Open-ended questions to clarify the methods used. B. Closed questions about previous tests. C. Only technical questions about server configuration. D. Questions about social media policies. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, A. Open-ended questions to clarify the methods used. Explanation. Option A is correct because open-ended questions, which cannot be answered with a simple yes or no, encourage stakeholders to provide detailed information and context. This helps the testing team fully understand the business objectives, concerns, and technical environment, reducing ambiguity. Option B is incorrect because relying only on closed questions is limiting and can lead to misunderstandings. While a closed question like, "Have you been tested before?" is useful, it should be followed by open-ended questions. Option C is incorrect because focusing solely on technical questions ignores the crucial business context. Understanding which assets are most critical to the business is as important as knowing their technical configuration. Option D is incorrect because this is too specific. Questions about social media policies are only relevant if a social engineering assessment is part of the scope, and it is not a general best practice for all stakeholder meetings. 18. What are compliance-based assessments? A. Tests focused on meeting specific legal or regulatory requirements. B. Pen tests that avoid physical security tests. C. Assessments done only for financial institutions. D. Testing completed without reporting. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, A. Tests focused on meeting specific legal or regulatory requirements. Explanation. Option A is correct because compliance-based assessments are performed to verify that an organisation adheres to the rules set by a specific law, regulation, or industry standard. Examples include testing for the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, or PCI DSS, and the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, known as HIPAA. Option B is incorrect because some compliance frameworks, such as PCI DSS, may explicitly require physical security controls to be tested. Option C is incorrect because many industries outside of finance have compliance requirements, such as healthcare, government, and retail. Option D is incorrect because reporting is a mandatory and essential deliverable of any professional assessment, especially one intended to demonstrate compliance to auditors or regulators. 19. Describe red team and blue team based assessments. A. A team of consultants conducting an assessment. B. An internal IT team performing the test. C. Red team simulates an attacker, while the blue team defends the organisation. D. An assessment using only automated tools. Do you know the answer? Correct. Answer C. Red team simulates an attacker, while the blue team defends the organisation. Explanation. Option C is correct because this accurately describes the roles in this type of exercise. The red team acts as an adversary, attempting to breach security controls, while the blue team is responsible for detecting and responding to the attack. Option A is incorrect because this only describes one potential component. While a red team may consist of external consultants, this answer omits the crucial role of the defensive blue team. Option B is incorrect because this only describes the blue team's role. A key aspect of this assessment is the adversarial simulation provided by the red team, which is often an external entity. Option D is incorrect because red team assessments rely heavily on manual techniques, creativity, and custom tools to mimic the behaviour of real-world advanced attackers, going far beyond the capabilities of automated scanners. 20. What are goals-based assessments? A. Tests with defined objectives like verifying the security of a specific system. B. Tests performed without any clear goals. C. Assessments focused only on policy compliance. D. Automated vulnerability scans without human involvement. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. A. Tests with defined objectives like verifying the security of a specific system. Explanation. Option A is correct because a goals-based assessment, also known as objective-based testing, focuses on achieving a specific, predefined objective. For example, a goal might be to determine if an attacker can pivot from the public web server to the internal customer database. Option B is incorrect because this is the opposite of a goals-based assessment. An assessment without clear goals is often inefficient and may not test what is most important to the organization. Option C is incorrect because this describes a compliance-based assessment. While a specific goal might align with a compliance requirement, the primary driver is the objective itself, not the regulation. Option D is incorrect because achieving a complex, specific goal typically requires the advanced problem-solving skills and creativity of a human tester, not just an automated scan. 21. What is the unknown environment test strategy? A method of testing where the team has no prior knowledge of the system. B, a testing strategy for cloud-based systems only. C, testing that focuses on gathering metadata from files. D, testing with complete access to source code. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, A, a method of testing where the team has no prior knowledge of the system. Explanation. Option A is correct because the unknown environment strategy, also known as black box testing, simulates an attack from an external adversary. The penetration testing team is given no internal information about the target systems beyond what is publicly available. Option B is incorrect because this strategy can be applied to any type of environment, including on-premises data centers, not just cloud systems. Option C is incorrect because gathering metadata is one of many techniques used during the reconnaissance phase of a black box test. It is not the definition of the strategy itself. Option D is incorrect because having complete access to source code describes a known environment or white box test, which is the opposite of an unknown environment test. 22. Explain the partially known environment test strategy. A, testing where the team has no knowledge of the system. B, testing conducted with limited information, such as code or internal functionality. C, testing without source code but with access to physical systems. D, a test conducted only after vulnerabilities are fixed. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B, testing conducted with limited information, such as code or internal functionality. Explanation. Option B is correct because a partially known environment strategy, also known as grey box testing, provides the testing team with some information about the target. This could include user-level credentials, architectural diagrams, or some segments of source code to allow for more focused and efficient testing. Option A is incorrect because having no knowledge describes an unknown environment or black box test. Option C is incorrect because this describes a specific scenario, whereas the definition of a grey box test is based on the level of information provided, not just the type of access. Option D is incorrect because this describes a retest or validation assessment, which is performed after an initial test to verify that fixes are effective. 23. What are the three types of environment testing strategies? A, cloud external and internal testing. B, black box, white box and grey box testing. C, known, unknown and partially known environment testing. D, web, mobile and API testing. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C, known, unknown and partially known environment testing. Explanation. Option C is correct because these three strategies are defined by the level of knowledge and information provided to the testing team before the assessment begins. Option A is incorrect because these terms describe the location or network position of the assets being tested, not the testing strategy, based on the information level. Option B is incorrect because while these are widely used synonyms, the terms in option C are also correct and maintain consistency with the terminology used in related questions about these strategies. White box is a known environment, black box is an unknown environment, and grey box is a partially known environment. Option D is incorrect because these terms describe the type of application or system being tested, not the overarching methodological approach defined by the tester's knowledge. 24. What should be discussed with stakeholders when determining the test scope? A. Scope of assets and excluded elements. B. Only the budget of the test. C. Details of previous vulnerabilities found. D. Social engineering policies. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. A. Scope of assets and excluded elements. Explanation. Option A is correct because the most fundamental part of a scoping discussion is to clearly define the boundaries of the engagement. This involves identifying all assets that are in scope for testing and explicitly listing any systems, assets, or attack methods that are out of scope. Option B is incorrect because while the budget is a critical constraint that must be discussed, it is not the only element. The primary purpose of scoping is to define what will be tested. Option C is incorrect because discussing previous findings is part of the information gathering process for the test team. It is not a primary topic for defining the scope and rules of the current engagement. Option D is incorrect because social engineering policies are only a relevant discussion point if social engineering is included in the test. It is too specific to be the general answer for all scoping discussions. 25. What is an MSA or Master Service Agreement? A. A document that sets the terms of a particular project. B. A contract that outlines ongoing business relationship guidelines between two parties. C. A method for ensuring compliance with PCI DSS. D. A type of firewall setting for pen test teams. Can you guess the answer? Correct. Answer B. A contract that outlines ongoing business relationship guidelines between two parties. Explanation. Option B is correct because a master service agreement is a foundational contract that establishes the general terms and conditions for a long-term business relationship. It covers aspects like payment terms, confidentiality, and liability, allowing future projects to be executed with simpler contracts called statements of work. Option A is incorrect because this describes a statement of work, also known as an SOW, which defines the specifics of a single project and typically operates under an existing MSA. Option C is incorrect because an MSA is a legal document governing a business relationship, not a technical method for ensuring compliance. Option D is incorrect because an MSA is a legal contract and has no relation to firewall configurations. 26. What is an SOW or statement of work? A. A detailed document outlining specific expectations for a business arrangement. B. A type of security assessment for internal assets. C. A test conducted in the post-compromise phase. D. A method for configuring DNS servers. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. A. A detailed document outlining specific expectations for a business arrangement. Explanation. Option A is correct because a statement of work is a project-specific document that details the work to be performed. It includes the project's scope, deliverables, timelines, pricing, and responsibilities for a particular engagement. Option B is incorrect because a SOW is a project management document, not a type of security assessment itself. A SOW would be used to define the terms of an internal security assessment. Option C is incorrect because a SOW is a legal and project management document, not a technical testing phase. Option D is incorrect because a SAO is a document and not a technical method for server configuration. 27. What is an SLA or service level agreement? A type of cybersecurity standard. B, a contract outlining the terms of a service, including performance metrics and penalties. C, a methodology for penetration testing web applications. D, an audit performed after every test. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B, a contract outlining the terms of a service, including performance metrics and penalties. Explanation. Option B is correct because a service level agreement is a contract between a service provider and a client that defines the expected level of service. It includes specific, measurable metrics like uptime, response time, and the penalties or remedies if the provider fails to meet these metrics. Option A is incorrect because an SLA is a contractual agreement, not a general cybersecurity standard like those from NIST or ISO. Option C is incorrect because this describes a framework like OSSTM or PTs, not a service contract. Option D is incorrect because an SLA defines service expectations beforehand, whereas an audit is a review of past performance. 28. What are DNS records like MX, NS, TXT, and SRV used for? A, to track server vulnerabilities. B, for storing malicious code. C, to provide critical information about domain services like mail servers and text data. D, to test vulnerability scans on DNS servers. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C, to provide critical information about domain services like mail servers and text data. Explanation. Option C is correct because these DNS records provide essential information for a domain to function. MX or mail exchange records point to mail servers. NS or name server records identify the domain's authoritative DNS servers. TXT or text records store text information for purposes like email security. And SRV or service records specify the location of various network services. Option A is incorrect because DNS records themselves do not track vulnerabilities. They provide configuration information. Option B is incorrect because while an attacker might abuse a record like TXT to store data, the legitimate purpose of these records is not to hold malicious code. Option D is incorrect because these records are the data held by a DNS server. They are not a tool or method for testing that server. 29. What is ENS lookup? A tool for performing vulnerability assessments. B, a command line tool to query domain records in DNS. C, a tool for scanning networks for open ports. D, a type of firewall configuration. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B, a command line tool to query domain records in DNS. Explanation. Option B is correct because NSLOOKUP, which stands for Name Server Lookup, is a standard command line utility used to query the domain name system. It can retrieve domain names, IP address mappings, and other specific DNS records. Option A is incorrect because NSLOOKUP is a reconnaissance tool that gathers information. It does not analyze that information for security weaknesses. Option C is incorrect because scanning for open ports is the function of a port scanner, such as Nmap. Option D is incorrect because NSLOOKUP is a software tool for querying networks, not a configuration setting for a firewall. 30. What is DIG used for? A tool for mapping internal network devices. B, a tool for performing reverse DNS lookups and resolving IP addresses to domain names. C, a vulnerability scanner. D, a tool for collecting metadata? Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B, a tool for performing reverse DNS lookups and resolving IP addresses to domain names. Explanation. Option B is correct because DIG, which stands for Domain Information Groper, is a flexible command line tool for interrogating DNS servers. It can perform a wide range of queries, including reverse DNS lookups, to find the domain name associated with an IP address, and is generally considered more powerful than SLOOKUP. Option A is incorrect because this describes the function of a network mapping tool like Nmap. Option C is incorrect because DIG is a tool for DNS reconnaissance and diagnostics, not for vulnerability scanning. Option D is incorrect because collecting metadata from files is the function of tools like MetaGoofil or FOCA. 31. What is a robots.txt file used for? A. To restrict access to specific web pages for search engine bots. B. To encrypt files stored on a web server. C. To provide server-side encryption for email communications. D. To detect SQL injection attempts on web forms. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, A. To restrict access to specific web pages for search engine bots. Explanation. Option A is correct because a robots.txt file is used by website administrators to give instructions to web crawlers and other automated bots. It specifies which pages or sections of the site should not be crawled or indexed by search engines. Option B is incorrect because file encryption on a server is managed through the operating system or application settings, not a plain text file like robots.txt. Option C is incorrect because email encryption is handled by email servers and protocols like transport layer security, not a file on a web server. Option D is incorrect because detecting attacks like SQL injection is the job of a web application firewall or another security system, not a robots.txt file. 32. What is the subject alternative name in a digital certificate? A. A mechanism for encoding web traffic. B. A feature that lists multiple subdomains or domain names in the same certificate. C. A type of encryption used for securing email communications. D. A protocol used for securing network traffic. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. A feature that lists multiple subdomains or domain names in the same certificate. Explanation. Option B is correct because the subject alternative name, or SAN, is an extension in a digital certificate that allows a single certificate to secure multiple different host names. This can include different domains or various subdomains of the same base domain. Option A is incorrect because the SAN is a field within a certificate. It is not the mechanism that performs the traffic encoding itself. Option C is incorrect because while a certificate containing a SAN field can be used to secure email, the SAN itself is not a type of encryption. Option D is incorrect because the SAN is a feature of a certificate, whereas the protocol used to secure network traffic is typically transport layer security. 33. What is the certification revocation list, or CRL? A. A list of subdomains included in a certificate. B. A list of certificates that are no longer valid and should not be trusted. C. A protocol for securing network communications. D. A command used for generating new digital certificates. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. A list of certificates that are no longer valid and should not be trusted. Explanation. Option B is correct because a certificate revocation list is published by a certificate authority, to inform clients which digital certificates have been revoked before their scheduled expiration date. A certificate might be revoked if its private key is compromised. Option A is incorrect because the list of subdomains covered by a certificate is specified in the subject alternative name field, not a CRL. Option C is incorrect because a CRL is a data file, not a communication protocol like transport layer security. Option D is incorrect because generating certificates involves creating a certificate signing request and submitting it to a certificate authority, which is unrelated to a CRL. 34. What is OCSP used for in the context of certificates? A tool for automating certificate renewals. B, a protocol for verifying the status of a certificate. C, a command for generating new certificates. D, a method for encoding email communications. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B, a protocol for verifying the status of a certificate. Explanation. Option B is correct because OCSP, the Online Certificate Status Protocol, is an internet protocol used to obtain the revocation status of a digital certificate in real time. It provides a more efficient alternative to downloading and searching through large certificate revocation lists. Option A is incorrect because protocols like ACME, the Automated Certificate Management Environment, are used for automating certificate renewals, not OCSP. Option C is incorrect because OCSP is a protocol for checking status, not a command for generating certificates. Option D is incorrect because OCSP's purpose is to validate certificate status, not to encode communications. 35. What does MetaGoofil do? A, it is a vulnerability scanner for web applications. B, it extracts metadata from public documents related to a target organization. C, it encrypts emails to ensure secure communication. D, it scans firewalls to detect configuration flaws. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B, it extracts metadata from public documents related to a target organization. Explanation. Option B is correct because MetaGoofil is an information gathering tool designed to find public documents such as PDF and Word files associated with a target domain. It then extracts metadata from these files to uncover potentially useful information like usernames, software versions, and server names. Option A is incorrect because MetaGoofil is a reconnaissance tool, not a web application vulnerability scanner like OWASP-Zap or Burp Suite. Option C is incorrect because MetaGoofil is used for gathering information, not for encrypting communications. Option D is incorrect because it is an information gathering tool, not a firewall scanner. 36. What is FOCA? A vulnerability scanning tool for networks. B, a tool used to discover metadata in documents and identify additional domains associated with an IP. C, a firewall testing tool for enterprise networks. D, a penetration testing tool for social engineering. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B, a tool used to discover metadata in documents and identify additional domains associated with an IP. Explanation. Option B is correct because FOCA, which stands for Fingerprinting Organizations with Collected Archives, is a tool used for reconnaissance. It automates the process of finding, downloading, and extracting metadata from public documents to discover information like employee names, network hosts, and related domains. Option A is incorrect because FOCA is a reconnaissance tool, not a network vulnerability scanner like Nessus. Option C is incorrect because FOCA is used for information gathering, not for testing firewalls. Option D is incorrect because this describes tools like the Social Engineer Toolkit, not FOCA. 37. What does the harvester do? A. A tool for extracting email addresses, subdomains, and employee names from public sources. B. A vulnerability scanning tool for web applications. C. A method for encrypting email communications. D. A program used to generate digital certificates. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. A. A tool for extracting email addresses, subdomains, and employee names from public sources. Explanation. Option A is correct because the harvester is a popular open-source intelligence tool. It is used during the reconnaissance phase of a penetration test to gather information like email addresses, subdomains, and employee names from public sources like search engines and social media platforms. Option B is incorrect because the harvester is a reconnaissance tool, not a web application vulnerability scanner. Option C is incorrect because the harvester gathers public information. It is not a method for encryption. Option D is incorrect because this is not the function of the harvester. Certificate generation is handled by other tools or services. 38. What is Maltego? A. A tool for cracking encryption algorithms. B. A GUI-based OSINT tool that creates graphical visualizations of connections between data points. C. A web application firewall configuration tool. D. A program used for creating digital certificates. Do you know the answer? Correct. Answer B. A GUI-based OSINT tool that creates graphical visualizations of connections between data points. Explanation. Option B is correct because Maltego is an open-source intelligence tool that excels at visualizing data. It takes disparate pieces of information from public sources and displays them as a graph, making it easy to see relationships between people, domains, companies, and infrastructure. Option A is incorrect because cracking tools like John the Ripper or Hashcat are used for breaking encryption, not Maltego. Option C is incorrect because Maltego is a reconnaissance and intelligence tool, not a tool for configuring a web application firewall. Option D is incorrect because Maltego is used for information gathering and analysis, not for creating digital certificates. 39. What is pretexting? A. A method of creating fake login pages to steal credentials. B. A social engineering technique where the attacker lies or tells a half-truth to trick the target into revealing sensitive information. C. A way to intercept email communications between users. D. A tool used to test the strength of encryption protocols. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. A social engineering technique where the attacker lies or tells a half-truth to trick the target into revealing sensitive information. Explanation. Option B is correct because pretexting involves an attacker inventing a fabricated scenario, the pretext, to manipulate a target. By posing as someone trustworthy, like a co-worker or IT support, the attacker convinces the victim to divulge confidential information or perform an action they should not. Option A is incorrect because creating fake login pages to steal credentials is a specific technique known as phishing. Option C is incorrect because intercepting communications describes a man-in-the-middle attack, which is a technical network attack, not a social engineering technique. Option D is incorrect because pretexting is a psychological tactic used against people, not a technical tool for testing cryptography. 40. What is elicitation? A. The process of encrypting data before transmission. B. A technique used to acquire data from a target by posing as a trusted individual. C. A method for decoding encrypted traffic. D. A tool used to extract data from a compromised machine. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. A technique used to acquire data from a target by posing as a trusted individual. Explanation. Option B is correct because elicitation is the strategic use of conversation to extract information from people, often without them realizing they are giving away sensitive details. It frequently involves pretexting, where an attacker poses as someone trustworthy to make the conversation seem natural and non-threatening. Option A is incorrect because this describes the process of encryption, which is unrelated to elicitation. Option C is incorrect because this describes decryption or cryptanalysis, a technical process. Option D is incorrect because this describes data exfiltration, a technical action taken after a system has already been compromised. 41. What is a business email compromise, also known as BSE? A. A technique used for encrypting emails between employees. B. Using elicited information to send spoofed emails between employees for fraudulent purposes. C. A tool used to encrypt email communications for security purposes. D. A vulnerability scanning tool for email servers. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Using elicited information to send spoofed emails between employees for fraudulent purposes. Explanation. Option B is correct because a business email compromise attack is a targeted scam where an attacker uses social engineering to impersonate a company executive or trusted vendor. The goal is to trick an employee into making unauthorized financial transfers or sending sensitive data. Option A is incorrect because BC is a type of attack, not a defensive encryption technique. Option C is incorrect because this describes a security tool, which is the opposite of a BC attack. Option D is incorrect because BC is a type of social engineering fraud, not a vulnerability scanning tool. 42. What is set in the context of social engineering? A. A command line tool for launching network-based attacks. B. The social engineering toolkit, which helps create phishing campaigns and malicious payloads. C. A vulnerability scanner for testing email security. D. A method used to decode encrypted traffic. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. The social engineering toolkit, which helps create phishing campaigns and malicious payloads. Explanation. Option B is correct because SET stands for the Social Engineer Toolkit. It is a popular open source framework written in Python and included in distributions like Kali Linux. It is designed to automate and simplify the process of conducting various social engineering attacks, including phishing. Option A is incorrect because while ESET can launch attacks that use the network, its primary focus is on the human element through social engineering techniques. Option C is incorrect because ESET is an offensive tool used to simulate attacks, not a defensive scanner used to test security. Option D is incorrect because ESET has no functionality for decoding encrypted traffic. 43. What is farming? A. The process of gathering personal data through encrypted traffic. B. A social engineering technique where victims are redirected to fake websites that appear legitimate. C. A method of encrypting DNS queries for secure communication. D. A technique for bypassing web application firewalls. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. A social engineering technique where victims are redirected to fake websites that appear legitimate. Explanation. Option B is correct because farming is a cyber attack that redirects a website's traffic to a fraudulent site without the user's knowledge. This is typically done by either compromising DNS servers or modifying the host's file on a victim's computer, making it more difficult to detect than a standard phishing attack. Option A is incorrect because farming is about redirection to fake sites, not about intercepting encrypted traffic. Option C is incorrect because this describes a security measure like DNS over HTTPS, which helps prevent pharming attacks. Option D is incorrect because pharming is a traffic redirection attack, not a technique for bypassing a web application firewall. 44. What's baiting in social engineering? A. A method used to encrypt data in transit. B. The use of enticing physical media, such as USB drives, to trick victims into inserting it into their machines. C. A technique for creating fake login pages to harvest credentials. D. A vulnerability scanner for hardware devices. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. The use of enticing physical media, such as USB drives, to trick victims into inserting it into their machines. Explanation. Option B is correct because baiting is a social engineering attack that relies on human curiosity or greed. An attacker leaves a malware-infected physical device, like a USB drive labelled confidential salaries, in a place where a target will find it and be tempted to plug it into their computer. Option A is incorrect because baiting is an attack vector, not an encryption method. Option C is incorrect because creating fake login pages is a technique known as phishing. Option D is incorrect because baiting is a social engineering tactic, not a hardware vulnerability scanner. 45. What is phishing? A. A phishing attack conducted via SMS messaging. B. A type of phishing conducted over the phone, where attackers try to trick victims into giving up sensitive information. C. A vulnerability scanning tool for telecommunication networks. D. A method of encrypting phone conversations. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. A type of phishing conducted over the phone, where attackers try to trick victims into giving up sensitive information. Explanation. Option B is correct because phishing, a combination of the words voice and phishing, is a social engineering attack conducted over the telephone. Attackers use voice calls to impersonate legitimate entities and deceive victims into revealing personal or financial information. Option A is incorrect because phishing attacks conducted via SMS text messages are known as smishing. Option C is incorrect because phishing is an attack technique, not a vulnerability scanning tool. Option D is incorrect because phishing is a fraudulent act, not a security measure like call encryption. 46. What is a watering hole attack? A. An attack that targets users via spam emails. B. An attack where hackers compromise websites frequently visited by their target group and inject malicious code. C. A method for encrypting data transmissions. D. A vulnerability scanner for web browsers. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. An attack where hackers compromise websites frequently visited by their target group and inject malicious code. Explanation. Option B is correct because in a watering hole attack, the attacker first profiles a specific group of targets to identify websites they often visit. The attacker then compromises one of these legitimate sites, the watering hole, and waits for the targets to visit, at which point their systems are infected with malware. Option A is incorrect because this describes a spam or broad-based phishing campaign, whereas a watering hole attack is more targeted. Option C is incorrect because a watering hole attack is a method of compromising systems, not encrypting data. Option D is incorrect because this attack exploits vulnerabilities in browsers, but is not a tool for scanning them. 47. What is social proof in the context of social engineering? A. A method used to verify identities during transactions. B. A psychological phenomenon where people copy the actions of others to appear competent or cooperative. C. A social engineering technique that involves impersonating a trusted individual. D. A method used to encrypt social media communications. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. A psychological phenomenon where people copy the actions of others to appear competent or cooperative. Explanation. Option B is correct because social proof is a psychological principle stating that people tend to assume the actions of others are correct in a given situation. A social engineer can exploit this by, for example, claiming that other colleagues have already complied with a request to make it seem more legitimate and trustworthy. Option A is incorrect because this describes authentication or identity verification, which is a security process. Option C is incorrect because impersonation is a technique that often leverages social proof to be effective, but it is not the principle of social proof itself. Option D is incorrect because this is a technical security measure unrelated to the psychological principle of social proof. 48. What is RFID used for? A. Scanning barcodes. B. Short-range, contactless data transmission using passive tags. C. Encrypting email communications. D. Scanning for vulnerabilities in networking hardware. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Short-range, contactless data transmission using passive tags. Explanation. Option B is correct because RFID, which stands for radio frequency identification, is a technology that uses radio waves to wirelessly transmit data from a small tag to a reader over a short distance. It is commonly used in applications like employee access badges, inventory tracking, and contactless payments. Option A is incorrect because barcodes are scanned using optical readers that interpret black and white lines with light, whereas RFID uses radio waves. Option C is incorrect because email encryption is handled by protocols like PGP or S-MIME, not RFID. Option D is incorrect because RFID is a communication technology, not a vulnerability scanner. 49. What is tailgating? A. A type of phishing conducted through email. B. Gaining physical access to a secure area by following someone who is authorized. C. A method used to encrypt network traffic. D. A vulnerability scanner for physical security systems. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Gaining physical access to a secure area by following someone who is authorized. Explanation. Option B is correct because tailgating, also called piggybacking, is a physical security breach. It occurs when an unauthorized individual gains entry to a restricted area by closely following an authorized person through a door or checkpoint. Option A is incorrect because this describes phishing, which is a digital attack, not a physical one. Option C is incorrect because tailgating is a physical intrusion technique, not a method for network data encryption like a VPN. Option D is incorrect because tailgating is an attack method used to bypass physical security controls, not a tool for scanning them. 50. What is the social engineering toolkit or set in Kali Linux? A. A tool for analyzing network traffic. B. A framework for conducting phishing campaigns and social engineering attacks. C. A vulnerability scanning tool for web applications. D. A program for encrypting web traffic. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. A framework for conducting phishing campaigns and social engineering attacks. Explanation. Option B is correct because the Social Engineer Toolkit is a comprehensive framework designed to simulate and perform a wide variety of social engineering attacks. It includes modules for creating phishing websites, generating malicious payloads, and launching spear phishing campaigns. Option A is incorrect because tools like Wireshark or TCP dump are used for analyzing network traffic, not SET. Option C is incorrect because SET is an offensive tool focused on human-based attacks, not a technical vulnerability scanner for web applications like Nikto or OWASP Zap. Option D is incorrect because SET is an attack framework. It does not provide functionality for encrypting web traffic. You have reached the end of our first question set. For the free complete exam preparation, visit our website link in the description, where you find thousands more practice questions and comprehensive study guides. Thanks for studying with us today. See you in the next video.